Hey guys, this is Sebastian Natural Mystic Pollock bringing you a final table of the $1,500 guarantee on Minted Poker. Um, Lately, I haven't been running so hot in the cash games, but I actually have been running pretty good in the tournaments, and I figured once I reached another final table that I would record it so you guys could see what I'm doing at the final tables and how I'm playing. So far, it appears that quite a few of these guys appear to be fairly solid players comparatively to most of the final tables that I've been on so far. As in, I know YSB here. He's a fairly solid cash game player that I've played with. Voviker is a tournament regular. JK is a tournament regular. And if we just take a look at some of these, though I don't know, I haven't played with any of these other particular guys. If we look at even GGG11, he's running a 16-15 style. Um, Even Kriya 7 EAN 25, he's running a 27-24, which again, with the close VPIP and PFR together, he seems to be running fairly solid stats. So, appears to be again a fairly solid final table comparatively. 21-8-6. This isn't terrible, but again, he doesn't appear to be super loose. Again, appears to be somewhat passive, but again, really don't have too much. And again, most of these guys I haven't played with in the tournament, or I haven't seen them around, so we don't have too many specific reads on them. So we are just going to play, and hopefully we can donk this. Some of the things that I'm going to look for is really just taking advantage of position, being patient, understanding the opponents, what they're trying to do, and as always with the tournament, you got to have a little bit of luck. But we don't need to, because the blinds are relatively small to our stack size now as well. We don't really need to go crazy and do anything to we don't have to go and do anything crazy. We can afford to be patient. Maybe crack on JK a little bit, as well as Voviker, and maybe Bond a little bit, because again, they're going to be folding, and probably a lot of these guys, I find they tend to try to just fold their way into higher places and whatnot. Voviker, he's going to be a little bit more difficult because he'll 3-bet, he'll play back at us a little bit, but so again, we'll take it as it comes. If I get a little distracted, I am playing in another tournament on the other screen here. And if we get a playable hand here, 7-3 versus, again, a tight Villains Open, we will fold here. So again, 7-2, we're really not going to do much there with that hand. And here we'll move this table over. This is a which tournament is this one? I'm not sure. Hold on, bear with me one second. Actually, this is the $1,500 guarantee. The tournament that we are on now is the $1,000 Euro guarantee. So excuse me for mixing that up. We just got jammed on here. Because it's early in the tournament, I am going to call. I'm just going to rebuy. He had pocket queens, and he ended up winning, so that's okay. We are just going to rebuy. That particular villain had he's playing very wide, and I tend to play a little bit more aggressively in the beginning when I can rebuy, especially against opponents who appear to be a little bit weaker. So we would have raised this to steal the blinds here, but obviously with the jam, our hand, we're just going to fold it, obviously, with a call. I would expect Cobalt Men's range to be pretty strong and GG's range to be fairly wide at this point. Which I think that Ace-10 calling off for 10,000 is pretty marginal at best there, I think. Oh, and look at this, we got kings. So this is nice because we appear to be in a steal position, and like we talked about Voviker, he's the type of opponent who, he may be playing back at us, and we get and this particular player, we get him raising. So I'm going to raise it just a little bit more. He showed he overvalues hands like Ace-10 on the, he called, so I'm won't be surprised if he calls here as well with a much worse hand here. Obviously, we're going to be going with the hand if he ships over, and he folds, and that's fine too. We added a nice chunk to our stack. Obviously, we want him to call, but better having him fold than having the board come out with an ace or something and then having him lead into us or something of that nature. So the 7-9 here, again, we're just going to junk this. I think it's important during tournaments, especially to the beginning stages of the tournament. My tournament strategy is basically I'm playing, especially in these rebuy add-on tournaments. First, whenever I buy, when you buy into a rebuy add-on tournament, you should be planning on at a minimum rebuying immediately to double your stack and then adding on during the add-on period. I don't know the exact math behind, I'm not good at explaining the technical math details behind. So we can see here, this player's getting it in very light, and so that's something to keep in mind as well when we're playing against him, against his range. Basically, if you don't rebuy and double your stack and you don't add on, you're losing huge tournament EV. And in these add-on and rebuy tournaments, enough of the players, they'll buy in and then not rebuy before the rebuy period's over, which is basically just dead money in the pot for you to win. So these tournaments usually provide a pretty good overlay in that sense. And again, we're just going to fold the Jack-7 here. So I'm willing to take a little bit. I'm willing to take more. Ooh, I'm willing to take more chances early in the tournament, especially during the rebuy period. So, and then obviously I tighten up after the rebuy period. One thing to look out for too is there's quite a few players who I've made who they'll play very aggro and aggressive before the rebuy period, and you could mistakenly mark them for a weak player or a fish, but you have to be very careful, especially when you make assumptions before the rebuy period. A lot of these players are either trying to juice the table up or they're trying to accumulate a lot of chips, and then they will change their style drastically after the rebuy period. So you may see a guy who's playing a 50-40 style or something, so don't, or 60-50 style before the rebuy. Don't automatically assume that he is a fish just because you see that. So we're down to 5 guys. Again, we don't need to do anything drastic here in this spot. So the A7 will open if it's folded to us, but Kriya's Zine, we're just going to call him Kriya for now, or creatine, because the 7 will consider that a T open. So we would have liked to seen him double up, and move our way up into the money, but that's okay. And here we're just going to put in a raise to 4,200. I don't want to min raise here because I don't want to get called by a lot of overcards. If my hand was really strong, I might, if I had kings or aces or something, I might make it the raise to, actually probably about the same amount, because with the dead money in the pot, it's fine. With the dead money, I mean the anti-money as well, too. So I'm usually doing, 2.2, 2.3x raise usually. And we'll fold if it gets raised behind us. Again, 9-3 suited is not a hand that we're really going to want to be making a move with. And on top of that, Cobalt has shown that he doesn't really like to fold hands at all, so he's going to be making a lot of marginal calls in that spot. So we're going to fold here. Had it been folded to us, we would have raised against Iron Bond. This guy's playing very, very tight. It appears he's playing 11-6, and he appears to be nut peddling, so we'd be stealing versus him quite a bit. And we're going to raise here, get it in here. Now, when he raises here, Kriazon, he has been pretty aggressive. JK, and my stats started getting. So I'm just going to open jam here, and hope, you know, he doesn't have a bigger pair, which it's very unlikely. He's raising from the cutoff. Again, this isn't a hand that there's going to be so many bad flops that I'm really not going to be able to play profitably. Post flop, and again, he may decide to call me with 8-7s, and if he does even call me with a hand like ace king, ace queen, we're slightly ahead, so we're in a coin flip situation, and we're gonna, obviously being down in chips, we're gonna have to, you know, get lucky, and we're gonna have to catch some cards eventually. So again, I think that tens, it's fine to do that in that spot. I mean, excuse me, with nines, it's fine to do that in that spot. And again, if we do get called by a smaller pair of overcards and we do hold up, then it really puts us in a nice position to take down the tournament. So, and here I'm going to raise it up to 5 grand, and we'll call off if we get jammed on. So we're starting to increase our chip stack a little bit. Again, we don't need to really do anything crazy. Again, if it gets raised behind us, we're just going to fold. And that's a nice result, especially with 3-5. And again, if it's folded to us, we're going to raise against I'm Bond, because again, he's playing so tight. But with Cobalt raising, we're just going to fold. And I would be shocked if I'm Bond doesn't have at least a queen here. Again, we're just going to open jam here. This player's playing pretty aggressive. So he doesn't have a bigger pair than us, or he would have snap called, and I don't think he's got ace king or ace queen. Again, so we accumulated nice chips. Again, nines is just a hand that's going to be difficult to play, but I feel that, you know, with creatine has a wide enough opening range. And for some reason, the HUD is not set up properly, so I'm going to try to relaunch that. And I think it's because the number, sometimes because when we have a weird number of players at the table, it will it can get funny. So that's JK. Again, it's, for whatever reason, it's not really isn't real accurate here. That's okay. We have a pretty good idea of how the villains are playing, and we know what they're doing. So at this point, you know, the HUD, we really don't need it as much, even though obviously I like to have it to, you know, it gives a little bit better, it helps to give me a little bit better idea of their ranges and that sort of thing. If we get raised here, we're gonna call. We're not going to 3-bet this hand. I think it's good enough to call within this spot. And again, because also we don't have a made hand as well. And when this player checks back here, I'm just going to bet 5,600. And if he calls, I'm going to be done with the hand. I don't think he ever checks back an ace. So if he calls here or raises, I think he always has a jack. And that was a nice result for us there. And the queen three, we could raise here, and we are going to just a 5,000. Ideally, all we want is a fold, and that's what we got. We're just trying to accumulate chips here to put us in a position where we're able to do some damage, and we don't have to necessarily put our tournament life on the line in as many spots. So again, for whatever reason, we're having the HUD's not popping up again. I have no idea why, but and the Jack 4 we're just going to fold. So these guys appear to be playing pretty straightforward, with the exception of Creazine and Cobalt appear to be making some steel raises. I'm Bond's playing just very tight. Same with JK's playing pretty tight as well. And we're just going to fold. Let him have this one. Our hand's marginal. We're out of position, and as we just talked about, he's playing pretty tight. Not really much to do in that spot. If it gets raised, we're just going to call here. With Ace Jack, again, don't really need to do anything super fancy here. Again, we'll just call a C-bet. And now we're just going to check. Again, I don't really think he's going to be getting in much worse here, so I think at this point, now in the board pairs, I don't think he's probably not betting a worse ace here, only if he has a queen, I think, is he going to be betting. So if I bet, I fold out everything, I think that I'm beating anyway, and depending on his bet size there on the river, I can... And because we just won a pot there from that particular player, and now he's raising again. Again, we don't really know too much about him. This could be a tilt raise. I think calling here is fine from the button, actually, because of our stack size, and we're going to be playing the hand in position. And again, we're going to call here. And that's a pretty bad card, but we'll just check it back now. And if he bets the river, we're just going to fold here in this spot, because I think if bet check bet is usually he's got an ace, and he was hoping to induce here. So again, I don't think that this is ever a bluff here. So we'll just fold. I think that was he probably raised an ace, c-bet it, and then checked it to us, trying to induce in that spot, and then bet the river for value. And so when we get min raised by JK, we already determined he's a pretty tight player. So again, we can just get away from our hand here. With threes, at best we're in a coin flip. At worst case situation, we're dominated. So, and also playing the hand post flop, there's really not going to be too many good flops for us at all. So Queen Jack, we're going to raise here as well. And when he goes all in here, it's kind of like, I'm not really sure what he'd be doing with it. This is the first time we've seen him 3-bet, so we'll just fold. Getting whittled down a little bit here, but that's okay. Again, there's still plenty of time. We don't need to do anything drastic here. And if he raises, we're just going to give it up here. Here, we're just going to give it up. and the 10-2 against the tighter opponent, we're going to raise to 5,500. Again, he's playing pretty straightforward, fit or fold. There's a possibility he could jam on us here, but we haven't seen him do that yet. And if he does, again, we're just going to fold. So also, one thing that we've done too is that we've made it look like, again, we've been raising a lot, so players are not going to give us as much credit because they really haven't seen us show down anything. So when we do get a strong hand, I think that we might be able to get the money in this spot, or we might be able to get pretty good value from it because, again, people have seen us raising, so they might assume that we're just making moves all the time. And Cobalt Man is thinking about it, which could mean he could have anything. And Queen 9, we're going to fold that from under the gun. So, I've started to change gears here a little bit where I'm going to be playing a little bit tighter now. Again, because I was opening it up before, and again, a couple guys, they were playing back at me a little bit. And again, if Cobalt raises here, I'm going to fold, even though I have an ace. Cobalt has shown that he's willing to call very, very light. And the last thing I want to do is make a move on him here. And then, he's going to call with ace 7, ace 8, ace 9, ace 10. So I really don't think I have that much fold equity. So I'm just going to give it up in that spot and wait for a better situation. I think that I have a huge edge in these games, especially post-flop, and understanding ranges as well. So I don't think I need to make any. If I felt like I was really outclassed at this table, or I felt like that these guys were much stronger opponents than myself, then I would be taking more chances pre-flop, and trying to take the skill factor out of it. But because that's not the case, I am. And with King Jack, I'm just going to call here versus Kriazan's raise. I think I'm pretty much just going to go with this hand at this point. And this isn't the type of guy who was showing that he was going to be barreling his bluffs. So I don't expect him. I didn't want to flat here and give him a free card, because even if I give him a free card, if with me having a top pair of a king or whatnot, if a queen or a jack comes, it's not like I'm going to be able to get his whole stack in anyway. So at that point, I'd rather just get the money in there and not have an ace come or another card come, and I just as soon take it down there with the money in the pot. And again, if he has king queen or ace king, which is very unlikely, well, he's got me. But again, he doesn't appear to be the type of guy who's going to be barreling into me and making a big play or a big bluff. So in that spot, I feel like he either has it or he doesn't. And if he doesn't, well, I might as well get the money in. Well, I have the best hand, so. And again, we're just going to fold here with the king 6. Again, no need to do anything fancy here, out of position with an extremely marginal hand. Again, I think I have a pretty good pulse of how the table is playing, so I'll fold if creatine raises. I'm just going to call if I'm going to call here and see what Bond is going to do here, and he jams, so, or he doesn't quite jam, but and that's unfortunate. At the same time, it did get creatine, got his stack down as well too. So funny, we've got two guys who are from the same town in Bulgaria playing at the same final table. So that's a little bit it's a little bit strange, or I guess coincidental, I guess you could say. Not that again, I and we're gonna raise this here. Again, we've been playing pretty tight, and again we have a suited ace. So it's pretty even final table now. It's pretty up for grabs. Um, Again, I think that favors us pretty heavily in this situation. And against King 9 is a pretty dominated hand, and JK is the strongest player at this table. He's the only player that I'm familiar with that I've played, and I know he's played in quite a few of the tournaments and whatnot. So, and again, we're gonna raise it to 6,600 now against I'm Bond here. And now we're just going to put in a bet that looks like we're going to be making a C bet. We'll go with this hand here. Again, obviously we've got top pair, second kicker. I think ace king he's going to be 3-betting us with. It's pretty unlikely that he is a set. And we're going to make the raise to 5,800 here. I like to vary my raise sizes as well. I find that a lot of time it confuses opponents as well too. They're not really sure what I'm doing when I vary my raise sizes as well. So and I find when guys are in doubt about what to do, they typically fold. So in the 7-8, we're going to fold. And again, the jack 2, this is a very easy fold. Oh, look at that, we got the chip lead, isn't that something? Uh-oh, we could have some fireworks here. I would expect JK to fold here unless he's got a very strong range. I think he's very strong here, as in jacks plus, ace king, maybe ace queen. And we haven't seen this guy. We've only seen him 3-bet once before, so not really quite sure what he has here, but and 10-7, we're going to give this up. We're not even going to steal if it's folded to us, because I'm Bond has been playing a little bit. He's been defending his big blind a little bit more recently, so we want to narrow our range a little bit. As in before, we were pretty much just opening any two cards against him when he was in the big blind, so we can fold here. Oh, on the other table I got aces. That's always nice. Well, it's nice when they hold up anyway. Which they do, which is nice. And the Jack 2 we're going to fold here. So that last hand, I just want to take a quick look because I was focusing on my ace hand. So he raises 5,500 with ace 2, JK calls, JK checks, check, 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 check. So, okay, so we can see these guys again. They're playing pretty straightforward post-flop when they've got their marginal hands. So, again, like we talked about, playing pretty ABC, as in playing pretty fit or fold. And as we saw before, creatine rather, he will take shots. He'll take a one and done approach with the C bet in that spot. In spots rather, not in that spot. And again, we'll just fold here to JK. If these guys raise, I'm actually just going to fold my sevens here. Very difficult to play out of position. There's going to be not too many flops that I'm going to like in that particular spot. And again, we are still so deep. I'm still got almost 25 big blinds or whatnot. So and we're going to fold the 4-3 here. So again, no real need to put myself in a really marginal situation. Again, with sevens, that's a spot where I'm either most likely to his raise. I'm either in a coin flip or I am in a or I'm completely dominated. So if I just call, I'm really going to hate every flop because virtually every flop's going to have one, if not two overcards in it. And I'm really, calling, then check calling with two overcards just puts you in a really shitty spot, I think. And I think that three betting there, when you three bet, you're gonna get called or jammed on by hands that are better than you, and even hands like Ace King and things like that, where you really, I don't really want to be calling a jam in that particular spot. And again, this is another spot here where I'm going to think about this for a second. Again, best case scenario here, I'm in a coin flip. And I really don't want to put myself in a coin flip spot here because, he could be doing this as a bluff with a hand like Ace 9 or even Ace 8. But that being the case, I still only have 50% equity. If he's doing it with a hand like 8s, 9s, or 10s or stronger, I'm crushed. So I'm just going to give this up here. And again, we're going to fold the King 4 here. And we're going to fold the 2-6 no matter what. So we're just leaving it a click fold. Queen 6 we're going to fold here as well. And then once it's opened, that makes it real easy. I'm going to call with the Jack 10 here. I think that in position, it's going to play pretty well. Again, I'm not going to really be going crazy with it, but I think that if he does have two overcards to me, you know, I can hit pretty well. And again, I expect him to be more one and done here. And so now I'll call. Oh, and we hit Jin. Isn't that nice? And he does our betting for us. And that's really unlucky for him, but better him than us. So with these tournaments, I've said it before, when he's in a dominated spot here. All right, so we just moved up into the money a little bit, higher it placed into money. That's good. And this is a fold here. Uh-oh, I think we got two big hands. Oh, and Cobalt Men just got counterfeited on the turn. And we're just going to check the 3-6. Again, no need to get fancy here. So JK looks like he's opening it up a little bit. He's got a little bit of momentum. He's won a couple big hands. When he bets twice and when he bets so small there, I think his hand is pretty strong. Oh, we've got people railing us. Look at that. So we got a little bit of break here. So while we're on break, let's bring this guy over here so we can see. Still 64 out of 120 players left, but you know, we're plodding along somewhere. And here we're going to raise it to 1300. I like to make it just over 2x. I think it makes it a little bit tougher for the not a little bit tougher, but just a hair bigger. You know, 13 or 14 even here. Discourages a call from the big blind a little bit more than I find a min raise sometimes because it's just a little bit more. I'm going to check here. When this player calls in position with a 34% cold call, I think there's a lot of aces in his range here. So, not that I'm really worried about the big blind as much, but I'm going to bet 2,000 now here. I think Diablo will call with any 10 here as well, too, because I bet small, but I think he'll check the river. So, he either has a weak. He probably has a hand like Queen 10 here, which I expect him to check back, or he's got a hand like Ace 2 or something like that, which he didn't want to see bet or something like that. Yeah, Jack 10. So that's okay in that spot. I think that it's going to take it down enough of the time that that's going to be profitable there. Also, with that type of player, if I thought it was a tighter player or a player who was capable of making a little bit better folds, I could bomb the river there, knowing that he has a 10. But this type of player, the 43, 12, 36, the big mistake that they like to make is that they call too much. So that's why I figured I'd put in one bet. If he's got air or a smaller pocket pair, he's going to peel one, and he's never going to bet the river with it. So I get value from his worst hands. I eliminate the chance of, if he's got a hand like king, queen, queen, jack, stuff like that. I prevent him from sucking out on me. Again, I'm going to raise to 1300 again here with ace king. I can also raise a little bit bigger from early position. This is a snap call here in this spot. And we'll call with the queen 10 in position. If he bets, we're going to min raise him here. If he jams, we'll fold. We'll fold. So he obviously had an ace in that spot, I think. And we're not gonna get fancy here, and we're gonna move this table up, and we're gonna make this big again. It's okay, so he showed us a bluff. It's okay. And we're just going to fold the 10-6 here. And again, we'll fold the 9-8. I expect him to just keep cracking on us in this spot here. He's the big chip stack, and it's small blind and big blind, so I expect him to just keep putting maximum pressure on us. At some point, we're going to have to find a hand and take a stand with it, but this is not. We don't really need to. We don't have to make this move yet. So we can just fold. If we had ace-8 or ace-9 there, I probably would have just jammed over the top of him there to pick up the dead money in the pot. Ace-6, I could have as well too, which is fine, but he's going to get more and more comfortable. He's going to start pushing wider ranges. Oh, and he folded to us. Great. And we're just going to call here because we don't want to get raised off our hand here. And I don't expect him to raise except unless he has a big hand here, which he is. Or at least, we have a lot of hands that could be dominated. Yeah, so he had ace-jack, so I think he just calls there, or he just checks back. Most hands here. So I'm going to jam here because I do have a pair. It looks like maybe I'm frustrated. I might get called by 2 overs. And I pick up a little bit of chips in that spot. So I think that that's fine there. Again, at this point, we're kind of treading water, trying to pick some good spots. And we're going to fold. Again, we're going to let him battle here. He's raising from the button. Let these two battle it out as much as possible. Appear to be a little bit card dead here, but that's okay. We're just, unfortunately, we're letting JK kind of run us over, which I usually like to be the one who's doing what JK is doing, but again, he's a solid player, and he understands ranges fairly well, I think, and again, I think I'm Bond has probably a pretty fairly strong range here, especially three-handed when he does that, because he's putting his tournament life on the line against a guy who's very deep stacked. I think he's going to be jamming on me possibly with a wider range than he would be JK, because JK's just got so many more chips to call with in that spot. So again, I think his range is stronger there. This is the first time we've seen him raise, and he's raising 3x from the button. I'm just going to give it up. We're going to have to start shoving pretty soon there. If I call, it's kind of, I'm going to be put in a spot when I hit top pairs. I'm going to have a lot of dominated hands. It's getting ugly. Okay. We're going to have to start picking it up here. Yet I don't want to do it with just garbage. I want to have at least a decent hand to be doing it with, especially because, again, we've got JK in the big blind, and I think he's more apt to call us. If he raises, we're just getting it in. And we ended up not thinking. So, well, we finished third, which, to be honest, I don't think towards the end there, I think we could have made some more plays, but we were a little bit card dead, and I think with the, with the king in our hand, that it's fine to call there and in that particular spot, but not thrilled with the end play. Actually, again, it wasn't terrible. I think, again, we just ran into some spots where we picked a spot and we knew we were going to need to get lucky. So that was the final table video for the MTT. We can see here it was I believe it was a $5 buy-in tournament. Let me just quick check that to see which tournament that was, and then we will call it I will call it a wrap here. Tournaments. Actually, it was a €3 buy-in tournament. So that was pretty good. So we invested 3. We invested about €9, I guess, and we ended up winning. Let's see. Sorry, I'm a little scattered here. We ended up winning 120. So that's a good return. So I'll take that. So okay, guys. Who knows? Could be if I final table this one too. Could be making another video. Sebastian, Natural Mystic Pollock, signing off for RakebackDollars.com.